With the launch of the Nintendo 3DS, there isn't much to choose from, especially from a Nintendo published perspective. Nintendogs, casuals, pilot wings, hang gliders, more like lane gliders. Steel diver, man's game. I mean, check this guy out. Captain Dante Cruz. Not only is his first name Dante, but his last name is Cruz. And his middle name is his awesome beard. And he's the captain of a submarine. How can you go wrong with this?
Service. Dive. Breach. Ship damage.
Don't question Captain Dante Cruz's driving.
Blank. Service. Ship damaged.
Steel Diver is sort of, but not really, a submarine simulation game. As you can see on the bottom screen, you have a panel you control your sub with. Steel Diver features no button controls at all. Instead, you use the touch screen to control the depth slider on the right side of the screen to either dive or surface. And on the bottom of the screen, you have a speed slider that will either propel you forward or in reverse. Players can also tilt the axis of their ship using the pitch wheel at the center of the touch screen. It sounds simple at first, but it can become very confusing and very challenging to use. More often than not, you'll forget that you left your depth slider to surfacing, so while you're busy trying to fire a torpedo at something, your sub is propelling itself right into the cave walls. You constantly need to be paying attention to not only what's going around your sub, but what your controls are set at.
Fire. Back. Breach. Ship damage. Fire. Fire.
Each level has the player navigating underwater, usually through caves, dodging mines and enemy missile fire. At the end of each level, you'll either need to simply surface or fight a boss. Each mission has a time limit, usually amounting to around 10 to 15 minutes. Levels are generally short, but the submarines move slowly, and not in terms of just speed either. Controlling the sub in general is slow and clunky, although it's been purposely done so. You can choose between 3 subs, and depending on which you choose, you may have to react to obstacles seconds ahead of time. About to ram into a boulder? Throw that submarine in reverse and start surfacing! Then you'll have to wait a good 5 seconds to see if you actually make it out of the boulder's path. Once you start throwing in enemy fire, mines, walls, and other obstacles, you'll see that the slow pace is required. If it were any faster, it would be impossible to dodge anything. Let things get out of control, and you'll find your ship at the bottom of the ocean in no time.
Ship damaged. Breach. Ship damaged. Mayday! Service. Breach. Mayday! Dive. Mayday!
I am so good at this game. Steel Diver has about 3 different game types. You have the normal submarine mode, which you've been seeing up until this point. And then you have periscope mode. This mode has you controlling a periscope from a fixed location. You use the touchscreen or motion controls to change whatever direction you're facing. In this mode, you simply just fire missiles at enemy vessels. While periscope mode is its own standalone mode, it actually appears in all other modes of the game, so you'll be seeing it often. In standard mode in specific, periscope mode will take place at the end of each level, earning you decals that you can put on your submarine. These also affect your submarine stats. The third mode is Steel Commander. This mode has players controlling escort ships, supply ships, and a submarine. It's essentially a semi-active turn-based board game. Players take the offensive using the submarine to take out supply ships, while using escort ships to protect their own. Unfortunately, in this mode, periscope mode is way overused and can become quickly repetitive, as for the most part you're just shooting missiles at defenseless ships. Visually, Steel Diver doesn't really do anything impressive for the 3DS. Most of the 3D effects are lost. I would even completely forget to turn them on based on how little difference it made. Being originally a DS tech demo, it's no surprise that the main star of the title isn't the 3D effects, and rather the touchscreen. Most of what you can see here could be easily achieved on the DS, except for maybe some weather effects. As for the soundtracks, there's some great tracks throughout the title, but nothing memorable. The chatter of your crew helped make the situation feel more dire than usual.
Fire. Code breached. Ship damaged.
Except for when you're giving a sub a back rub. Unless that is a dire situation, I'm not sure.
Dive.
But through most of the game, you'll just be hearing the ambient sound of the ocean along with the beeping sonar.
Back. Ball. Dive. All ahead. Flank. Code breached. Ship damaged. Back. Ball. Ship damaged. Dive. Service.
Steel Diver is an interesting title, until you realize just how little there is to do and how shallow each mode is. Periscope mode only features 3 variations, all of which are basically identical in terms of gameplay. The Steel Commander mode doesn't really have any solid strategy, and isn't engaging enough to be terribly interesting. Standard mode, the most enjoyable of the bunch, features a main campaign only 7 missions long, and this is only supplemented by 8 time trial courses and an expert mode. It doesn't feature nearly enough levels to evolve into anything beyond shooting some subs and piloting through caves. Within a few hours, you will most likely have experienced everything Steel Diver will have to offer. The title does take a Pilot Wings approach, asking you to compete against your own time at each mode, but to my understanding, there's no online leaderboards, or even preset rankings for that matter. It simply asks the player to strive to beat their own time, and collecting decals doesn't exactly do much to extend the game's life either.
Fire. Fire.
This might sound like an odd comparison, but Steel Diver is pretty much the equivalent of the early Nintendo DS title Yoshi Touch and Go. The game itself doesn't offer much, but it does have some interesting controls that shows that the DS's touchscreen still has some life in it, even with 3D being all the rage now. Unfortunately, even with Captain Dante Cruz, we're gonna have to rate Steel Diver a 6 out of 10. The title is far from worth the $40 price point. If you get the chance, rent it. Otherwise, it's probably just best to avoid it.
All ahead. Flank.